I'm going to read something else. I haven't read back through it that closely since writing it down, so we'll see how it feels. But having heard it in my head as it was being written, it's just something that I want to share. And that is on the value of apathy, which is a word that has been redefined and cast in this very negative light. Like many things relating to depression and other sort of nihilistic attitudes, it is misunderstood and it is feared by the egoic mind, which could also be called the Western mind at this point. But that mind has infected the whole of the world, so apathy is closer to love than any Western mind could grasp, for it demonstrates a trust of life, an allowance of it taking its own course, with the human taking action when asked by their own desire, genuine desire, their own curiosity, or satisfaction. A satisfaction which is the drive of the action and not the result. As with all nihilistic attitudes, and I am using that word in a fast and loose manner, apathy is given a bad rap. For one, because it represents a real threat to the world that is driven by fear, but also because this negative stigma against it tends to lead to an incomplete application, a sort of artificial or halfway apathy, which equates to caring that you do not care. You can see that this is the telling of a lie, then, in yourself. If one part of you is saying that you do not care and the other part is saying that you care, that you don't care, it's a halfway apathy, and it's a lie within you. It's an internal contradiction, and it's that contradiction that hurts. And this is where the pain of apathy lies. It's in the incomplete experience of it. It's actually the lie, the internal conflict that is painful. Genuine apathy, or a complete apathy, is not sad. If you do not care that you do not care, you don't care. Just as complete nihilistic release of meaning or mattering is also not sad. Nothing is sad or bad here. It simply is, without polarity. Genuine apathy is not caring that you do not care. Genuine release of the story of mattering, which is a mental interpretation and an imaginary concept, mattering in the way that the mind perceives it, is an acceptance that it doesn't matter for things not to matter. So again, the incomplete application of this is what gives nihilism a bad rap as well. And Nietzsche himself insisted that you needed to take it all the way, that the only issue that arises here, and is likely to arise, in fact, and that you need to pay attention to, is the incomplete application. To have this nihilistic attitude of nothing matters, and yet underneath you are still saying that it matters that nothing matters. You are giving weight to this statement instead of letting it be this sort of empty thing, actually, that is not sad and is not bad and is not upsetting. It's just honest. It's just removing projection. And so a genuine, honest apathy is in line with this, the statement that it does not matter that nothing matters. And you're not even really defining that. You're recognizing that mattering is something that is defined by the mind. And so you're really just stopping telling a story about reality. The mind has said that these things matter. Its version of mattering is that they have weight, they have gravity, they become grave in their importance. They're significant because of their ability to harm, because of the threat that they pose. That's what mattering is to the mind. And it is the same threat that tries to keep us out of apathy, that insists that there is something to fear here, that fear is the driver of care. But genuine apathy, as with the genuine release of mattering, says, I don't care that I don't care. It doesn't matter that I don't care, and I don't care that it doesn't matter. Do you see? It's genuine, it's complete. It's not a sad space to be in, it's a total release and a relief. It is an empty space. A space empty of caring or mattering, which the mind may interpret as sad or bad. But it would just be projecting again. It's interpreting emptiness. That's not the reality of emptiness. To be in this space that is empty of caring and empty of mattering, it's easy to project over that and call it something that it isn't. But again, it isn't what it is called. It is unfamiliar. Yes, it's unfamiliar to the mind, but ultimately it is just what is. A space that is empty of caring, a space that is empty of mattering. It doesn't matter that it is that way. You don't need to care because there's nothing to be afraid of here. It's just space. It's just what is. And actually here in this empty space that is not filled with projection or tugged at by polarity, what is there is just you. Just you. The release of care and importance or mattering in this mentally constructed way is not the end of emotion. It is the end of the labeling of emotion. Emotion still happens. Thoughts still happen. Sensation experience continues, but it's no longer labeled as sad or bad or even good or positive. It's not given the markers of polarization. It's just what is. The end of labeling is the end of polarized emotion and experience, which means you're no longer being dragged from one side to the other. You are just this point, this neutral, still point, moving through experience. Experience is flowing through you. And by engaging reality in this new way, which is direct, which is not filtered through a lens of interpretation, you begin to experience some things that were hidden to you before because they were drowned out. They were unable to be perceived. They were blocked from your perception by the distraction of the very loud, polarized, conditional experience that you were focused on. In this empty space, in this still quiet, where you are wholly unmotivated by conditions, unmotivated by thought and emotion, you are neutrality, and you recognize that you are simply losing the magnetization to polarized conditions, positive and negative, which once dragged you about at their whim. Not caring that you don't care, genuinely apathetic. You're empty of all care, and in this empty space, which you will recognize as yourself, where at first there is just quiet, gradually you notice something. Something very subtle creeps into your awareness. It is like noticing that night is becoming day. The first rays of something changing your view of the horizon without calling it light, without knowing what is happening. You are seeing that what you are observing is shifting. Something is emerging there. It is the gentle arising of a kind of quiet satisfaction, which you may call peace. And in the quiet, you begin to hear it humming. And you realize it is your humming. It is arising from you directly, more intimately and immediately than even emotion. It is closer and more real than anything else you have experienced. This is your sound, your natural emanation, the tone of your own being. And it is soft, it is sweet, it is smiling, it is eternal. You will sense that it has always been there and always is there. And as you listen, and now you are better able to listen because you are not distracted, not moved by the noise of the polarized phenomena. As you listen, you will hear it begin to rise in volume. And you will recognize in this quiet satisfaction, which at the low, continuous hum that it always has, is pure peace. Just a little louder becomes joy. And then you see that the joy is always there too, folded in with the peace. As you look and listen, you will see and hear more of what is always arising from you, quite on its own. What is you? Prior to all condition, after all condition, and beneath all condition. This is arising from you. This is emanating from your being. You will add laughter and play delight, and finally a deep, welling gratitude to the notes that you detect in your song. You will feel the stability of it, the steadiness, the calm and quiet confidence there. And you will know this as yourself, directly. And quite, as one might say, apathetic, quite unconcerned, unmotivated or moved by anything but its own melody, its own curiosity, its own satisfaction, which comes before any and all action. And any action taken or not taken is driven by this satisfaction and enhances it before the action even happens. Therefore, action is curious, frivolous, and for no reason at all, other than the delight of the experience of it. Or if there is not obvious delight, there is at least peace. There is non-projection. There is a very quiet curiosity at this being the thing which is before you, if you are asked to perform a task. And so you may as well see what's there, not in any seriousness, but because it's there, and because you can explore it. And you can do so then engaging any task that is presented to you, anything that life is asking of you. You can explore, not with vigor or rigor or purpose, seeking to achieve it, seeking to get it done, none of that, but relaxed, lazily, aimlessly, as though you were tracing your fingers over the form of your lover, drowsing in the warm sun of an endless afternoon. Apathy is not sad. It is not disengagement. It is total engagement with life, without preconception, without talking over it. You are here, fully and solidly in this moment with life. Life which is not afraid, which is not caring, which is not concerned, not trying or efforting. Life which simply is, elegantly, chaotically, messily, nonsensically, frivolously, perfectly. Apathy is a part of immersion in life. A final note in regards to anyone, including perhaps especially one's own mind, that is trying to tell a different story of apathy, to talk one out of it. Have you ever noticed that anyone trying to talk you out of apathy is doing so from a place of fear? This is not a judgment. It's quite an unconscious thing that's taking place. It's just conditioning. It is just a conditioned story repeating itself that hasn't been challenged. The awareness hasn't risen to challenge it yet. It's not a problem. It's not an affront. It's not malicious. It's just unconscious. And it is fear. It is a projection of a learned fear based on this accepted story of apathy. Whether the tactic is concern or anger or shame or some more concrete form of threat, it is driven by fear. It is trying to instill in you once more a fear of apathy or carelessness. It is trying to pull you back into fear motivation, because again, that's what society at large has been built by. And so you represent a very real threat to the functioning of a fear-based society if you are not motivated by fear, if you don't care what fear has to say, if any threat that is levied against you simply holds no weight because you don't care, then all anyone motivated by fear can do is try to use fear to get you to pick up the mantle once more. Apathy is powerful. That's why it is feared. Telling a negative and dangerous story of apathy is an attempt to shake one from the stable ground of it, to pull one back into polarization, done in the unconscious attempt to soothe the speaker's own fear, born from their belief in the negative story of apathy, which is now simply being unconsciously regurgitated. Be not moved by fear. That is what apathy has to gift us. Of course, as we discover, when we stop being moved by fear, the negative polarization of it, we begin to realize that these things which we called positive, what we called happiness, what we called pride or hope or belief, was actually positively polarized fear. It was not what we thought it to be. And so the release of fear is the beginning of the release, the dissolution of our magnetization to a polarized worldview and experience of life. And that means we're not moved by pride either. We're not moved by belief. We're not moved by hope. And we're not moved by happiness, because we recognize that these are not what they appear to be. They are based in fear. Anything polarized is. And again, it can feel very sad to leave this space behind, because that is the mind telling the story of this space being all that there is. Of if you give up the polarized experience, then you are empty, and empty means sad and listless and devoid of life, devoid of joy. Actually, it says that you cannot have joy without unjoy, without unhappiness. And you must recognize that all of this is a story. This is a myth that the mind is telling because it's afraid. Because it can't go where you're going. It can't see what you're seeing when you put it down, when you stop telling any stories. But something in you will drive you. This is in every human being. The curiosity to know what's really here. That makes us brave, it makes us bold, it makes us careless. And we get tired We get tired of fear. It just gets tiresome and boring. And the curiosity grows. And we hear this call to adventure, to explore. We're driven towards truth. And in our exploration of truth, we find that so much of what we called truth was relative and surface level and conceptual. And in order to experience what's really here, we have to put down all of the preconceived notions about it. We have to stop interpreting. We have to stop speaking and listen. And in order to listen, in order to take in what is being spoken by life, we have to empty. We must be willing to empty of care, of concern. And fear will try to keep us from this. Again, it's not malicious. It's natural. It's a part of this process. But eventually your desire will outweigh the fear. The desire will win. It wins every time. It's just a matter of time. It's inevitable. So you don't have to push this. Nobody has to push this. It happens. It happens when the desire gets big enough. The fear stops motivating you. It stops moving you away. You find yourself saying to it, when it presents a scary story to you of what you're going to regret, of what you're doing wrong, of the mistakes you're making and how you're going to be proven wrong, and you're going to regret it, you start hearing the fear in it, and you recognize that it's afraid. And you just say, it sounds like you're scared. But you're telling me this story, and all I'm thinking is, so what? The biggest threat that can be levied against me, internally or externally, is that of death. There is nothing more that anyone can do to me than the potential destruction of my physical form. And I'm willing to accept that as a consequence because I want to know what's here. And I am hearing in the telling of the story of death, in the using of it as a threat, that there is a story being told about it. For death to be used as a threat, there's a story about death being told that is negative. It's being defined. It's being given a definition. It's being interpreted by the mind. And that interpretation is negative. It's a story that says death is terrible. Death is the worst thing. Death is a destruction of you. It is an ultimate ending of you. Well, even if that were the case, I can go along with this. Even if that were the case, what does that matter? If it's the end of me, then it's the end of me. And I'm not going to care beyond that point because I would presumably be gone, right? So how does that change anything about right now? I still want to know. And my choosing not to know actually isn't going to keep death away. That's still going to happen, whether it's today or tomorrow or 20, 40, 60 years from now. It's going to happen. So either way, I'm going to find out what I want to find out. Either way, I'm going to get curious and explore right now. It doesn't matter if it kills me. It doesn't matter if I die. Even if I follow this negative story, which I'm playing along with, it still doesn't matter. I'm curious enough to accept the irrelevance of death in my exploration. This is where my satisfaction is. This is where my fun is. It's right now. It's choosing to see what's here. It's choosing to follow my curiosity and explore and play. And then at the end of a lifetime, if I face an ultimate destruction, what does that matter? I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed myself. What else is there? I had a good fucking time. And who knows, in the process, perhaps I discover some things about death, because I know when I look at life and I listen to life and I say, life, is death a big deal? And I look around and I see if life is treating death the way my mind is treating it, as something grave and serious. Does life appear to be bothered by death? Or is it unbothered? And then I can wonder if death really means anything at all. And I can ask life and I can listen. Does it mean something? Is it somehow the one thing that has meaning? Is it somehow the one grave, permanent, harmful thing? And if that were the case, wouldn't it be the bigger force? If somehow death could end life, then wouldn't life cease to be? Then wouldn't there just be nothing? Could I even be here asking these questions? If death were the bigger, if death were the greater reality, this ultimate destruction, this ending of life, wouldn't it all be done by now? Would it have even grown to this point? My observation of life indicates something different. And I can't know it. I can't prove it. I can't explain it. I can just see it and feel it. Life seems to be growing. It seems that growing is what life does. It seems that life becomes more, not less. And that death, whatever that is or means, is a part of growth. It's not an obstacle to it. It's not an end of it. It is simply a phase of growth. It's a part of the growing. That's what I see. That's what I witness. That's what life appears to be presenting to me, demonstrating to me. Quite literally, quite factually. But all of this really is not to achieve anything except my own good feeling. To be in touch with my own good feeling and to be in league with life. to be listening, to stop being moved by fear, to stop being moved, to stop being acted upon by outside forces, and just listen to what's really here. To build my home and dwell in the stable bedrock of unchanging and undeniable truth. For no other reason than that's where I want to be. Not because it's good or right or better or worthy, because it feels good, because it feels like where I want to be. And the more that I lean into that, the more that I recognize that that is the way of life. Applying logic to life doesn't work, because life is not following logic. Life is following feeling. Life is not distributing and organizing and driving all of this based on logic. There is not a plan. It's just going where it feels good. And it's organizing things by good feeling, and it's moving things by good feeling, and it's curiosity and it's exploration, and that's it. And when you look at it that way, you see that it does make sense. Not logically, emotionally. In a feeling way, it makes sense. It adds up. Not because the numbers make some bigger number that means something. You just get it in the way that you get music as you listen to it. Not what's happening, not what notes are being played, not anything about the structure or the intention, just I get it. I get why music happens. Because it feels good. It feels good to play, and it feels good to sing, and it feels good to hear. So, I choose to embrace the apathy of life, which is not sad or upsetting or mean. It is liberating. It is loving. It is the love of pure witness that is not interfering, that is not casting a projection over anything. It is just listening. It's not moved, as in it's not spurred into action by anything. It's outside of itself. It is feeling the movement within, and so it is moved internally. Again, there is an experience happening, moving through you. There is movement through you. Apathy is not the absence of the experience of movement in you. To the contrary, it is the full immersion in that movement, allowing it to flow around you and through you, to come through you, to bring tears, to bring laughter, to bring motion. You are not moved, the motion is happening through you, because you are not trying to control it. You are not acting upon it because of some fear that it's dangerous or matters in some deeper, dangerous way. And you see, again, in the release of mattering, you begin to discover that things do matter, but in a totally unimportant way. In a totally irrelevant kind of way. It's hard to describe. It's, it's meaningful to you. It doesn't have to have meaning for it to be meaningful. It is meaningful that you are engaging with it in this moment. It is meaningful that it is the happening of this moment. That's it. And in freedom, in the removing the shackles of defined meaning, of mental conceptual meaning, of interpretation, you are directly experiencing it, and you feel the impact, you feel the meaning, you feel the movement, you are moved internally by it, but not against it. You just let it rip through you without resistance. And what a magical experience that is. And in so doing, in allowing even something, especially something like fear to move through you without trying to get away from it, because then you begin to recognize that actions taken out of fear are actually attempts to get away from the feeling of fear. So if you stop trying to get away from the feeling by acting on it, and you just sit with it and you let it move through you, you let it ravage you, you immerse in it, your experience of it changes totally, because now you have fully accepted it. You cannot be immersed and resistant. And you're in it and you're with it and you're exploring what's here, and suddenly you feel that it is wrapping around you, not in a way that is constricting, but is loving. And it's like you are hearing a symphony that no one has ever heard, a symphony that is being played for the first time and just for you. No other ears have had the chance to hear this. No other eyes the chance to see this. This is a miracle unfolding in front of you just for you. And that is true of suffering. That's true of fear. That's true of pain, of grief, of hopelessness. To be immersed in that experience is to witness the unfolding of an actual and absolute miracle that is only yours in that moment. It's not excluded from the rest of life. It's just that you are the captive audience. You are the audience, an audience of one. You are witnessing this. Something never before seen is happening right in front of your eyes. And when you sink into it and you open to it and you let it unfurl for you in that way, you will know beyond the shadow of a doubt that it is good, it is right, and it is love. That love comes in many strange costumes. All of it wanting to perform for you, to dance for you, to enrapture you. And when you just let it in fully, you stop telling it what it is, you stop trying to understand, to interpret, and you just listen and say, you are here, I am here. What is? Let me listen. Let me explore you. Let me let you show yourself to me, instead of my trying to pick you apart, to rip into you, to categorize you. Let me let you show yourself. And what is here will, and you will be amazed. That's all I have to say. This was a lot longer than I expected. That is what it is. I love you. Take it easy.